Yo, Currency Bars here. I think we have to come to terms or come to accept the fact that some of us are more wired towards distraction than others. That some of us are more susceptible to being distracted than some of our peers. And, that laziness isn't always intentional. That some people don't set out to be lazy. They set out with the whole idea or mission or goal in mind, but next thing you know, the day has already passed. And part of that, I think, is the fact that I ain't gonna say the fact, but making the assumption that there are things in our lives that we haven't dealt with that make it hard for us to move on or to move forward. So they resonate, or they are present in our current day-to-day lives. They're things that we have to deal with in our mind that slow us up because we haven't dealt with them. They're like, I think those are the real that's the real meaning of ghosts. Like when there's ghosts or things that haven't been dealt with in our lives that we have to still deal with, that kind of haunt us or slow up our progression. So the thing about this is that we have to learn how to recondition our minds to not be so easily susceptible or as vulnerable to the occasional moment where the mind wants to just give in to the first distraction that it sees. It takes discipline, but it also takes an understanding that you have to rewrite whatever idea in your mind or your spirit that makes you feel like there's nothing else here. Deep down, I think what's happened is that you gave up and you're trying to make your way back out, but the problem is there's something in you that's still kind of that's holding on to you, that's holding on to your spirit. And so that's why you're so quick to almost retreat from the present as far as pursuing or following through with your goals or your mission or responsibilities, because we associate those things with pain. And whereas there's truth to that, there's some pain associated with doing what's needed, there's some discomfort, but the thing is, something's happened in our lives that made us feel like, what's the point of putting myself through more discomfort? So you have to pretty much create a situation or scenario, or tell your mind or create a new illusion to say, hey, there is more beyond what we've seen. We can't only live in this place where we only accept what we've dealt with. And unfortunately, what we feel we've dealt with is a lot of pain for no reason. And there's certain things we haven't gotten over yet. And that's fine. We have to accept the fact that we failed, and that's fine. But the thing is, you've only really fallen, you only fail if you stay in that position or that state. And thus you stay in a state of mind of, you stay in a form of stagnation mentally. And you have to start telling yourself or rewriting the ideology in your head that there's nothing else here to look forward to. You have to start telling yourself that there's more to fight for. That's what you're struggling with. I think you associate the responsibilities, you now associate that with just pain, and you don't really see an end. And something's happened where you second guess all of it, and something's happened in your spirit where you're like, why try? But you're continuing to go right now. You're continuing to go in a system, or you're continuing to move forward in some way or form, but it's like you kind of are going in a circle chasing your tail. Because you don't really know whether you want to take a step forward or just stay in the same place. Thus, you opt for staying in the same place because it's the term, the devil that you know. Like the issue or the conflicts that you complain about day to day, but you know about those. You already know the issues with those. You're content to keep complaining about the same issues because at least you know that. But when it comes to taking a step forward into the unknown, what if there's just more drama and more trauma and more issues out there going forward? What if there is? Fine, but the reality is there's more opportunity going forward. We can't stay in the same place. And we've associated moving forward, taking on those goals, taking on the responsibility as pain and more weight added to your struggle, and your soul is tired. That's really what it is. But you have to start speaking life into yourself. You have to start speaking life into yourself, start speaking life into your mind. You have to start saying affirmations to yourself that involve not just the negative moments where you talk to yourself, beating yourself up. You have to start bigging yourself up. You got to start talking to yourself about why to move forward. Because at the end of the day, everything starts in your own mind. No matter what anyone else says out here, it ain't going to matter unless you start believing, unless you believe it. So the only way to move forward, you have to start up here. You also have to insert good things into your mind. Whether you have to laugh, find more things to laugh about, or find things to look forward to. And you gotta start giving yourself compliments even when you don't feel like giving yourself compliments. You're going to have to start finding reasons to believe in yourself. Just like you believe in that friend out there that's like, oh, he or she always does a thing. You're gonna have to start speaking yourself up like you're them. It has to start up here first. And that's the only way you're gonna move forward. And that's the reason why a lot of us, when it comes to pursuing the things we want, we become lazy. We start procrastinating. And we wonder where our time went because we slowed down when it comes to executing. Because once we start moving forward, what happens is there's all these things in our mind that sabotage our movement as far as our progression. Because deep down, we're second guessing whether or not we can do it. So it starts in whether we can do it. So we have to start speaking the opposite of the negative things that try to come at us. There's things, negativity is projected upon us, projected at us all the time. And if we're doing it and we're accepting it into our spirit, then we ain't gonna get nowhere. And, that's why I say, when it comes to laziness, a lot of people aren't intentionally lazy. It's just that there's something that's conditioned them, whether a pitfall or something happened in their life that's slowing them up from wanting to move forward. They want to move forward, but deep down they question whether they themselves are capable of moving forward. So rather than facing the unknown and being afraid of failing again, they would rather go in a circle, staying in that stagnant place up there, or staying stagnant place in their lives, and because they're stagnant up here. And you have to start speaking that life to yourself. Anyway, y'all be blessed. Currency Bars out.